What's up, everybody? It's AG from Men of Order. We got two Monday night games tonight, but I want to take a focus on the Vikings at the Eagles. The line is set at 2.5 in favor of the Eagles. The over/under set at 48.5. Do the Eagles have what it takes to keep up with the Giants in the NFC East after the Giants started 2-0? The Eagles are looking to do the same tonight. I took the Eagles at minus 1.5 earlier in the week, and it's up to minus 2.5 now. So I still like the Eagles to cover, but obviously I liked it a little better at 1.5. You never want to give away those points if you don't have to. But in a Monday night game at home in Philly, and you only have to cover a field goal, I'll take my chances on that any day of the week. The Vikings were able to get Aaron Rodgers and wreak havoc in the backfield last week, but I don't think that same thing will happen with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles O-line. So he'll be able to get away and create plays downfield, specifically to A.J. Brown, which we'll get into for my same game parlay in a little bit. The other play I like here is the over. We have two explosive and talented offenses, so there's a chance this game is a shootout. The line was up to 50.5 earlier in the week when we were talking about it on our previous show, and now it's set at 48.5. So I liked it at 50.5, and I love it at 48.5. We're getting a little discount there, in my opinion, because there should be a lot of big plays in this game. Both teams finished week one in the top 10 in yards per play. The Eagles put up the second most points and allowed the third most points in week one. So I think this will be a back and forth game. We might cash that over on a last minute touchdown drive to win the game. Shout out to Soul in the house. What's up, bro? How you been? Haven't talked to you in a little while. Minnesota has a better D than Detroit. No, or actually, yes, I do, in my opinion. But we shall see tonight how they fare against the Eagles. I just don't think they'll be able to get to Jalen Hurts as easily as they were able to get to Aaron Rodgers, which is why I also have Jalen Hurts in a rushing attempts play because I think he'll be getting away and he'll probably cover over 8.5 rushing attempts. But the Packers racked up 6.2 yards per rush last week versus the Vikings defense, and the Eagles did show that they should have a dominant run game this season with 216 yards on the ground last week versus the Lions. So I like that matchup, and I think the Eagles should establish their run game early here, which is why it's probably a good idea to take a look at Miles Sanders over 56.5 rushing yards. He's hit that mark in 57% of his games in his career, but in wins, that number shoots up to 66%, and he's hit that in 4 of their last 5 wins. So if you think the Eagles might have a chance to win this game, you might as well lock that in at over 56.5 rushing yards. There you'll see his last 5 wins. Part of establishing the run game will be Jalen Hurts, like I was talking about just a second ago. He ran 17 times for 90 yards last week, and his rushing attempts is set at 8.5 over or under on Bet365 right now. I see no reason for the Eagles to turn away from their game plan when it worked so well last week. They got a win. Obviously, the Lions backdoor covered, so it looked a lot closer and was a lot closer than it should have been. But they were in control of that game because of that run game. So I think they'll keep doing what's working. And out of Hurts' 17 rushing attempts, 8 of those were designed runs for him. So even if we get 6 designed runs tonight, you'd have to imagine he escapes from the Vikings pass rush at least 3 times. You know what I mean? So I think that's a lock. Jalen Hurts over 8.5 rushing attempts tonight. I'm not sure how many yards he'll get with that. So I was a little shaky on the yards prop for him. But just to run the ball 9 times, I think definitely I see no reason for the Eagles to get away from that. And if they are able to establish the run game early, they'll free up play action downfield, specifically to A.J. Brown, like I was talking about earlier. I'm not 100% sold on A.J. Brown's overs for his props, but they're probably a good pick. It's not a bad idea to take a stab at his yards props if you, maybe even move it down a little bit, which I'm going to do for my same game parlay, which you'll see in just a second. However, on the flip side, we know how explosive the Vikings offense can be with Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, especially. That's one of the reasons I love the over here. But Jefferson's over-under yards are set at 96.5 and his receptions at 7.5. I'm going to stay away from those. I just feel like it could go either way. I do see him having another big game, but, 96.5 scares me, man. So if I'm going to play this, which I am, I'm going to play his 60 yards, or I think I'm going to play the 70 yards, actually. But I was saying either 60 or 70 yards in a parlay. You know what I mean? You're going to get worse odds, but if you parlay it, you can still make it worth it. I just don't – 96.5 seems risky to me. He definitely is capable, obviously, but the same with AJ Brown. I want to stay away from those overs, but I am going to tone them down a little bit for a parlay. Dalvin Cook's rushing yards, though, I think that's a good play at 71.5. DeAndre Swift ran all over the Eagles last week, and I think Dalvin Cook is a better running back than him. Cook has hit this mark in 76% of his last 25 games and 4 of his last 5, as well as 7 of his last 10 away games. So I see Dalvin Cook cashing this bet pretty easily. We might not even have to sweat it out. That'll show you his 76% over the last 25 games. So you know this is hitting. He had a couple 200-yard games in that. 71.5 after what DeAndre Swift did to them last week. I think he'll handle that pretty easily. So here is my same game parlay for this game. Like I said, I'm going to take it easy on the receivers' yards tonight because I just feel like the rushing games might get most of the yards and drive everybody downfield, and then the receivers and the drives with touchdowns or like possession catches in the red zone. But they might not rack up as many yards as some might be expecting after their week 1 performances. I think we see a little bit of a regression there. So I have A.J. Brown at 60 yards. I toned it down to that. And then I have Justin Jefferson at 70 instead of the 96.5 that the book was giving us. And then I have Dalvin Cook 70 yards and Miles Sanders 60 yards. I think those will hit. As I said, those are some of my top plays for today. If you do want to get a little risky, this parlay right here will get you $25 to win $240. But if you want to get a little more risky, I do like these touchdowns. If you add Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown for a touchdown each, it'll make it $25 to win $853 or $863, which is obviously a little more risky, but better reward. So you might want to throw a little pizza money on that, as John Ryan would say. But so this is my picks of the day. I have Miles Sanders over 56.5 rushing yards, Dalvin Cook over 71.5 rushing yards, Jalen Hurts over 8.5 rushing attempts, the Vikings Eagles total points over 48.5. And let's see, Ty's in the chat. He said Hurts over rushing yards, Birds and the points. Monday Night Football in Philly. Beware of recency bias. I do agree with that 100%. I have Hurts for the rushing attempts. I didn't take the yards just because I feel like it's a little more riskier, but I think it'll definitely hit. Obviously, going big on some of these players that I went light on isn't a bad idea. They're all capable of going off tonight. But I wanted to play it safe and make a nice little parlay that has really good chances of hitting tonight. And obviously it's a good idea, or I wouldn't say a good idea, but it's not a bad idea to take Dalvin Cook or Miles Sanders for touchdowns. I would say that Miles Sanders is the riskier play because we did have 4 different Eagle players run in the end zone for touchdowns. So you don't know if Miles Sanders is going to be the one to get the opportunities this week with that rotation of running backs and Jalen Hurts at quarterback running them in. So I would stay away from that, but Dalvin Cook isn't a bad option either. But other than that, we'll be here throughout the week talking about next week and also probably recapping this week's matchups and games. So thanks for watching. Good luck betting tonight. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more betting angles all football season long. If you like tonight's pick, share it with some friends, and let's all make some money tonight. Peace.